Hey guys, Zrave here. I wanted to make a video showing my current gear. Some of you have noticed that I've changed a few pieces and I've asked about, what pieces, why, that kind of stuff. So I wanted to make a video showing you what I have changed and also discuss each of my pieces of gear so that as you move on from like using the gear I used in the million gold challenge to high-end stuff, what kind of pieces you should be looking for. So first, just an overview. I have around just under 18 or 11k armor, have 63k health, and so between 900 and 1000 resists, 850 life on hit. So with this amount, it's definitely enough to beat practically any elite pack. Maybe you'll suffer through some in Act 4, or I mean, if you stand in stuff on the ground too much, maybe you'll have some trouble in Act 3 as well. But it's I'm pretty happy with this. It's actually not the best gear. I've seen several barbarians that have better gear, but it's what I've been able to get so far. And so just to show you my pieces then, I got a new shield recently. You may remember I had a storm shield before that had 30% block, and it was pretty good, but I switched for a sacred shield because it has a higher block amount by 1000 more. So when I'm fighting packs that hit really hard, you definitely notice the difference. It's I mean, I'm just eyeballing it, right? But like I spent maybe 30 minutes just letting mobs beat on me with either shield, and I feel that with this shield here I take about 10% or 5 to 10% less damage than I did with the storm shield. It cost me 9 million, and that's a lot of money, but the storm shield actually went for more. So like I ended up profiting some money in that process. So I'm pretty happy about the switch. You should definitely look for an end game sacred shield. This one doesn't have the best stats in the world, but for 9 million has a super high chance to block, and all the stats that I like: resist, physical, vitality, life, and yeah, so I'm pretty happy about this. This is my weapon. I've probably shown it before. I really like weapons that have sockets because you want to put a huge gem for life on hit, and I paid 6 million for this one, which it actually is a pretty good deal right now just because it has so much strength, so much vitality, and the socket. I find that weapons with a socket, like if you say you take a weapon with 900 DPS and a socket, and let's say just pretend that costs 1 million. And then if you had the same weapon, 900 DPS, but 300 life on hit, that would be like 2.5 million or 3 million. So it doesn't make much sense when you can just craft a gem. This one costs maybe 500k to make, and gives you the same life on hit, right? Definitely go for the weapons with sockets. They're underpriced, life on hits, really good stat, and it's a cheap way of getting it. So I definitely recommend you do that. I also got an amulet with life on hit. And this one I paid 2 million. It's a pretty good deal if you think about it. Like, just compare how much you would pay on a weapon to have 500 life on hit, right? If this was a 900 DPS weapon with 800 life on hit, it would go for so much more than 6 here and 2 more on the amulet. It also has a stat that I really like, which is percent life. 13% life is a lot. Like if I, for example, this is my magic find amulet. It doesn't have any vit or life percentage, and you can see I lose 8,000 life if I switch. So that's a lot of health. Okay, my boots are not the best. They have resist all and fire resist. I like fire resist a lot because of fire chains, molten mortar, and desecrator. They're all fire damage, so this definitely pays off to put a bit more on fire. And it has a little bit of strength, a little bit of it, but that's it. Like, it's a solid piece, but doesn't have any particular amazing thing about it. My pants are also pretty basic, I think. Has super high resist all and decent amount of vitality, but other than that, just, I mean, extra armor and stuff. It doesn't have any strength on it, which I'm actually looking to increase when I can. And then I have a Justice Lantern. If you can get one of these with a socket, it's probably a good deal because like all the other mods you can get on it, it's only a level 50 item, so it's going to give you very low stats otherwise. Like a socket, you can put a big gem in like I did here and give you 46 vitality. That's probably more than it can roll. And but then again, don't pay too much, right? Like don't value it too much because it's going to be a small difference either way. I definitely recommend the Justice Lantern. Stacking percent to block is the way to go. The higher you can get your block percentage, the better it becomes. Like I just want every piece that exists that gives me block percentage, if I can, on top of a Sacred Shield. This one here, like I said, is only 28%, not 29, so I probably will replace this shield at some point for something even better. My other ring is I mean, you got to realize I got some of these pieces really early on when they were cheap, right? Like I paid 1 million maybe for this Justice Lantern, 1 million for this ring, which basically I got it because it has vitality and resist all, and back then, like those stats are really hard to get on rings. Now it's a little bit easier. I don't recommend you get one of these rings. Actually, you might be better served just getting one of those blue rings I used in the Million Gold Challenge and keeping that for a while. It's going to be a small difference, just I don't know, maybe 10 resist all and a bit of vitality. And the other stats on this, which, I mean, they don't matter that much. I guess reduced damage from elites by 3% is okay, but not necessary. So my String of Ears, I've actually had this item for a while. I was holding off for 20%, but couldn't quite get it. I got this one for 2 million. It's a really good deal for the price, but everyone knows about it now, so it's going to be hard to get it for that cheap. If you're gonna go for the String of Ears, I definitely recommend you hold out for the high percentage. It's probably better to get a different belt. If like a 10% String of Ears is worse than just a regular solid belt, but when you get a very high percentage, it's really good. So you need like one of the best rare belts in the game to be able to beat a 20% String of Ears. Okay, then I have some pretty crappy bracers. That they do have 5 stats that I like. I've explained that I like physical resist because I use Superstition as one of my passives, so that's Superstition protects me from all the damage types except physical. So by adding additional physical resist on my gear, I protect myself from everything at about the same rate, which is where I want to be. And I've looked for upgrades for this piece and also for my boots, and like I am able to find upgrades on the auction house, but they all cost like 8 million or something like that, and it's only adding like 50 vitality worth of stats. I'm not paying 8 million for 50 vitality. I'm gonna hold out and maybe buy a sick item for like 30 million. That would give me a lot more. That's probably a better deal for you. So think about that. Don't try to increment your gear slowly. It's better to go huge piece by huge piece, because the big piece will keep for months, while if you do it incrementally, you're going to be replacing your pieces over and over. It's not very efficient, especially if you're not super savvy with the auction house, like in the terms of buying cheap and then selling high, so that if you lose a little bit each time you do that, then it's really damaging, especially considering the auction house cut of 15%. You'd have to be really good with the auction house to overcome that. Okay, and then I have my chest. I got this piece actually really cheap. I think it was 800k, and I mean, no-brainer. I just bought it instantly as soon as I saw it. 200 vitality is my favorite stat after resist all, which it also has, and so this is protecting me so much, right? It has resist all, armor, and another almost 300 armor from the vitality and strength it has. So this is a really solid piece. I think chest pieces can have high vitality, so it's good to look for one that has a lot. At the same time, your shoulder can have high strength. This shoulder I'm actually not too happy about. The stats, strength and vitality, are relatively low compared to how high they can get on the shoulder. And the resist all is only 53, which is, I mean, again, this is an average piece. I've seen upgrades that are cost like around 4 million or so, but I'm holding off, like I said, for a huge upgrade. And then I have my gloves. I got these also really early on. They cost me 4 million. And the reason why I did it, well, not just because it has 80 resist all, also it's difficult to get high rolls of strength and vitality on gloves, but also because it had crit hit chance, 9.5%, and while it doesn't help my build particularly, I feel that there are several opportunities to like skill combinations or whatever that really exploit high crit chance. So I think that once more gear becomes available, we're going to start seeing some builds that require you to have like 50% crit or something, but once you do like devastating damage or combo out the enemies in some fashion. And this applies for several classes. I've actually looked at all the skills in the game. And yeah, so if you can get a solid piece that happens to have crit chance and you're not paying too much, go ahead and stash that. It will eventually be very useful. Okay, so only piece I haven't shown is the helmet. It's Helm of Command. I paid 9 million for this one, but it was really early on when no one had the pattern, and there were only a few in the auction house. And the reason why I chose this one particularly is because it has the Helm of Command has 4 random stats. The ones here were an empty socket, which I really like. So I mean, 15% life is huge, and matters a lot. Also, resist all is random. The plus armor. So those are 3 solid defensive stats: the socket, armor, and resist all. The 4th one is reduces duration of control impairing by 13%. It's a so-so stat. Like I like the idea, but 13% is not that much. So, but since they stack multiplicatively, it might not be possible to get to values where I would like really be helpful. Like, say, 50% reduction would be awesome if you happen to get frozen or feared. But a 13% reduction is not going to be terribly noticeable. That said, it's still like a free bonus. I bought the item for the other 3 stats. Pretty happy with it. Definitely try to go for a Helm of Command. Like I said, you want to stack your block. But if you can't afford to get a really good one, then try to get a crappy one just for now with a chance to block, and then upgrade to a bigger one later on. Alright, so that's about it. I'm sure you guys have heard about the material change that's coming in soon, and I'm going to be planning how to deal with that. My build was definitely designed to farm wood material, and while I'm sure I can still complete everything, like no problems, it's going to take like maybe a 30% longer or 50% longer, and that's I'm not sure I'm willing to do that, so I might make some changes. I'll keep you guys posted on that, and that's it. Thanks for watching.